In a recent conversation between Adam Schefter and Chad Ochocinco revealed to Schefter that Jamar Chase is intending on missing the season if he isn't given a contract extension. This situation is quote unquote mysterious, according to Schefter, because unlike CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk, Jamar Chase is demanding a contract extension despite having 2 years left in his rookie deal, unlike the former players I mentioned who are in their fifth year and final option of their rookie contract. So this is a unique situation for the Cincinnati Bengals to be in. But at the end of the day, it's a situation that the Bengals need to handle orderly and correctly. And the right decision is paying Jamar Chase now because A, if Chad Ochocinco is correct and he is unwilling to play in the regular season if he isn't paid, they miss out on possibly the biggest year to compete for the Super Bowl in their window. And B, it makes Joe Burrow happy, your quarterback one. And C, you keep a cornerstone of your team around, a culture setter, somebody who's dynamic and exciting to bring to your team, who obviously elevates the offense, but is a leader in the locker room. According to Richard Skinner, local television sports anchor for Channel 12 in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase and his camp is seeking $160 million over 4 years with $120 million guaranteed on this contract extension. It'd be the most amount of guaranteed money a wide receiver would be paid in the entire National Football League of all time. But because of three prior things I mentioned, you need to pay him. And that's honestly not the worst contract in the world. The reason why I state that is in the fine lining, the $160 million would be added on top of his current $30 million over 2 years. So it'd be 190 over 6 years, making his average annual salary be $31 to $32 million per year. And as we see an increasing salary cap, if you're paying a wide receiver, a dynamic player at that $32 million per year for the next 6, compared to $40 million over those following 4, that's a big difference in terms of who you can retain on your roster. If you look at the numbers, obviously it's more this season, but you can't sign anybody this year. The free agent market is done. So you have 1 year where you're paying them more than what you'd want to, which is next season. But that's okay because you would have to pay them during that next offseason regardless. So point is, the money works out very favorably in terms of annual average value over these next 6 seasons if you're the Bengals. The other thing I alluded to was you need to pay them because you're in a championship window. And this is their biggest year to compete. The Bengals have Joe Burrow. They have a stout offensive line. They have T. Higgins on the roster. Who knows what's going to happen to this roster next season? Trey Hendrickson, big-time defensive end, could retire. T. Higgins could be on a new team, and you're searching for a second wide receiver who can be up to his play style and capability. So by having Chase on the field and paying him what he wants, it allows for them to maximize this big championship year window they have because who knows what the future holds for them. But on top of that, it satisfies your quarterback in Joe Burrow and makes him feel welcomed in Cincinnati. Finally, if you're the Bengals, you don't want this situation to somehow become a snowball into Carson Palmer 2.0, where Carson Palmer was a #1 overall pick for the Bengals, had a tremendous career there, wasn't happy with the front office and forced his way out. I know the contract is in place, but the idea is you don't want a disgruntled quarterback because that can really hurt the overall team. And lastly, from a play style standpoint, he is one of the most dynamic wide receivers. Clearly and easily a top 5, in my opinion, a top 3 wide receiver in the National Football League, having back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons each of his first 3 years in the NFL. He also can make any quarterback be successful. You look at what happened in the second half of last season with Jake Browning. Joe Burrow got hurt. Browning elevated his play style, played extremely well alongside Chase and other wide receivers, partially because Chase was doing extremely well when he had the ball in his hands, but also because he focused the defense away from everybody else, allowing the field to be open for Browning to operate. When you have a player like Joe Burrow who could potentially miss a couple games a season, it's nice knowing that you have another element to the offense that can help carry you if you need a backup in there. So all in all, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, pay Jamar Chase and pay him now. If you want to compete, if you want to make your quarterback happy, and you want your entire organization as a whole to just be held in a high regard like it has the past couple seasons, you need Jamar Chase to do so. As always, thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments.